Okay guys, this week we're going to be debating hookups.
I don't know if you guys are aware, but Fazer has been announced. So whoever wins Xfactor, he's going to produce their track. So I think obviously it's a bit of a hookup because obviously Tulisa is a judge on the show.
Some people are saying that it's not a hookup, and Simon Cowell is saying that he appointed him.
Yeah, we're not sure like how the process of appointing Fazer went down, but I'm looking at it from a general standpoint of view. Is it cool for people in general to hook up their friend for a job?
Let's just say, for example, me and my best friend, we both had dreams to do certain things or whatnot. And then let's just say I was working at a record company or whatnot. I wanted to bring him through to do something. I personally don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
The guy's a talented producer, without a doubt. I'm not saying Fazer can't make music that spans outside of his urban world. My thing is, what if an artist who's so far removed from that sound wins the competition? Fazer might not be the ideal person to make a record. He might be. I don't know.
I don't even fucking give a shit. Xfactor, I don't give a fuck about the winners, but I just think it's a good opportunity for Fazer. He's a producer that comes from the urban world. How mainstream can you get them being the fucking winner of Xfactor? So good luck to him, man, and I hope he makes a good record out of that shit.
I think a decision like that should be made after we've seen who's won the Xfactor and who's going to be ideal to produce a record for that particular artist. I've seen him play keys live and the guy's amazing. The point I was trying to make is that whether or not he's able to produce a record for a rock artist, it remains to be seen. I wouldn't feel like they're going to get the best out of me to make a record that's going to represent me as being my first hit record to show to the masses.
If I was Simon Cowell, I think, okay, I can't afford any more mess ups. I need for this single to go to #1. It needs to sell. I'm not saying that Fazer can't do the job. He could probably do a brilliant job. But I need to get somebody who has a history of working with different artists who come from different genres. If Fazer does it and it flops, that means there's another flop on top of the ratings dropping, the show not doing well.
How do we know that they haven't sat Fazer down in an office and said, play us a bunch of stuff?
You're saying that you want someone who's got a proven track record to the public.
I could go into an office and play 1 million different records and A&Rs could love them, but until I've actually proven that I can sell records and people gravitate towards it and buy that record,
But N-Dubz is his proof though.
Fazer might have a bag full of songs all ready to go and they might be brilliant, but he has yet to prove that those songs are definitely going to sell. And at the end of the day, this is what Xfactor is all about. It's all about making money. It's a brand that does push out #1 hits all the time, so fingers crossed that he does a good job.
Move away from Xfactor a little bit and look at hookups in general. I mean, in any industry, there is unfortunately a case of backdoor. Do you think this is different in the music industry, where essentially you do have fans who can say yes or no?
Depends on what it is. For example, let's just say my job is to get people to interview Jay-Z. I'm not just going to get my brethren to come and interview Jay-Z. You need somebody who knows what they're talking about. However, if I was working at a record label and my best friend's there and he wants a little situation, maybe they might not have had to work as hard as me, but I'm going to put them on a bit.
Of course I want to help my friends out if I'm in a position to do so, but you don't want to present someone to people above you unless they can deliver. There's no denying that this happens, and I understand that it happens. I mean, it happens in the city, in investment banking. It's often a case not of what you know, but of who you know.
The difference between hooking up someone due to talent and hooking up someone to give them an opportunity. Like you're saying, if you suddenly got given a record label by Sony, then you might employ one of your friends to help get him a job. If you've got a deal to sign an artist, are you going to sign the best rapper out who's going to sell the most records, or are you going to sign your boy that can rap a little bit? Every industry other than the music industry, the talent or the cream of the crop will float to the top. Whereas in the music industry, shit floats and talent sinks.
There is a bit of a difference between giving somebody an opportunity and then giving somebody something on a plate for them. However, at the same time, it still falls under the same category to a degree, because if I was an A&R and I did sign up my brethren, it's an opportunity for him at the same time. However, I just wouldn't do that.
You just recently heard a situation within the government where they had some guy who rang up a friend of his. This guy was traveling the world and being in business meetings and stuff like that. So if it goes up in there, then it goes on everywhere.
Ideally, it should be the best person for the job, but that's not the case. You have to try and keep a balance, because you don't want to work with someone really talented, but they're a cock. And that fucks up everyone's whole fucking vibe with shit. We do better at things when we enjoy them.
Talking the difference between putting out a product to the masses. It's one thing to have people working behind the scenes, but we're talking about artists, producers, DJs being given jobs based upon the fact that they know people as opposed to their talent.
No one's born fucking equal with the same opportunities. So if you're 10 meters back, someone might have 1 meter to climb. You gotta fucking do 10 times as much work. Motherfucker, work hard.
Look at every other industry. What football player gets signed?
There's no hookups in football still, man.
I know for a fact it goes on a lot within fashion PR and fashion media, because it's very cliquey. It's all about the friends of the friends of the friends, and they might not know nothing about PR. They go to all the parties, they do all the smoozing, but when it comes down to the work, that's when the problem arises, and you can see where the hookup just kind of falls flat. on its face.
Let's just say, for example, Frank Lampard. I'm not saying that this is what happened with him. What I'm saying is, with his dad being a football player, put in a greater situation to develop into a football player.
Definitely, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that he might have been the best person for the job. Even though he was given opportunities to help him become the best person for the job, he's still the best person for the job. You're not going to have a shit football player playing for Man United, Chelsea or Liverpool or one of the top flight teams based on a hookup. Whereas if you look at the music industry, the best rapper is not the rapper that you see out there. Quite often, the worst rapper
the thing about art
is
is
the guy
different,
up
man,
there.
because
Look at someone like Cher Lloyd. Can't sing, completely contrived image. She even called her record Swagger Jagger, which isn't even a real term. Obviously, her PR person who went out there to make a term overheard some kids in a chicken shop say it and got the term wrong. In no other industry would you see anybody that talentless in such a high position.
the whole thing about music and art is it's down to the individual what they think is good and what they think is bad.
No, it's down to marketing. See, with
but
sport, results speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Who's the best team in the league?
The one who's on
Whatever
top.
team
Yeah,
who's
who's on
just
top.
won the league. Whereas as far as who's the best rapper, who's the best DJ, it's based upon a perception that's been sold to people of who the best is, which is done by a machine pushing behind them. There's plenty of friend hookups that have put the people in that position and confused people into believing that that person is at the top, when in actual fact they're not the best person for the job.
How does this affect the small town guy who doesn't know anyone but who is incredibly talented?
You just have to work harder.
You have to create these opportunities for yourself. If you don't have somebody that's going to do it there for you, you can't just depend. You're going to wake up one day and somebody's going to be at your front door. You have to make it happen for yourself.
We ain't all born in the same fucking position. That's a fact of life. You just got to see what works in your life and where things are placed, and you just got to try and
that's
like
the
use your cards that you've got.
At the end of the day, it actually works out better for you because people know that you're a grafter, and that's always a good thing. So go to the place where you need to be and hustle, network.
I feel very strongly about the fact that people from smaller towns don't have the opportunities. As someone from Newcastle who found it really daunting having to come to London where I didn't have somewhere to live and couldn't therefore afford to do unpaid work, to do work experience, to do internships, the fact that everything is so centred here, where people who already are from here have the opportunities if they know the right people, we do end up with small town talent being completely ignored.
90% of this industry is PR. It's your relationship skills with people, how you can network and make people like you. If you've got no hookups whatsoever, boy, life's tough, innit? These are the breaks. You have to work harder to get where you need to go.
I've got food in my fridge right now, but there's people in fucking Africa that haven't. So they gotta fucking work harder than I have to get food. I didn't fucking make those rules. I can't feel guilty about that. Though sometimes I do, I didn't make that shit happen. That's just the way life is.
We could be talking about faking YouTube views, or this could be something as simple as your imagery. Rappers that are still making less than $1,000 a month, buying Gucci and Louis and trying to look the part.
The mentality of a dude, like, put your head down, take that shit. That's what I'm saying.